The morning of October 12, 2002, began like any other day for Audrey Mestre, but it would soon become one of the most tragic days in the history of freediving. Audrey, a world-class freediver known for her remarkable ability to explore the ocean's depths on a single breath, was about to undertake a dive that would push the boundaries of human endurance. Her goal was to descend to a depth of 561 feet, 171 meters, off the coast of the Dominican Republic, breaking the women's world record in the process. However, what was meant to be a triumphant moment turned into a heart-wrenching tragedy, forever marking the day as a somber reminder of the risks inherent in extreme sports. If you want to see more videos like this, don't forget to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications. Audrey Mestre had been captivated by the ocean from an early age. Born in Saint-Denis, France, in 1974, she was drawn to the sea's mysteries and spent much of her childhood in and around water. This love for the ocean led her to a career in marine biology, but it was freediving that would become her true passion. Audrey met Francisco Pipin Ferreras, a Cuban freediving legend, and the two quickly formed a deep personal and professional bond. Together, they would push each other to new heights, or rather, new depths, in the sport of freediving. By 2002, Audrey had already established herself as a formidable competitor in the freediving world. She had set multiple world records and was widely regarded as one of the best in the sport. But the dive on October 12th would be her most challenging yet. The depth she was attempting was at the very limits of human capability. It was a depth where the water pressure was so intense that the slightest mistake could be fatal. But Audrey was determined. She had trained meticulously for this dive, and she had the full support of her husband, Pipin, and the rest of her team. As the day of the dive arrived, the atmosphere was electric with anticipation. The waters off the coast of Bayahibe in the Dominican Republic were calm, the sun was shining, and everything seemed perfect for the record attempt. Audrey was calm and focused, going through her pre-dive routine with the precision and dedication that had become her hallmark. She was no stranger to the dangers of the sport, but she trusted in her training and in the meticulous preparations that had been made for the dive. Audrey's dive was to be assisted by a weighted sled, which would take her down to the target depth. Once she reached 561 feet, she would release a lift bag that would carry her swiftly back to the surface. It was a technique that had been used successfully in previous dives, and there was every reason to believe it would work again. However, as Audrey began her descent, there were already signs that something was not quite right. The first sign of trouble came as Audrey was descending. The sled that was supposed to take her down to the target depth was descending faster than anticipated. This was not immediately seen as a problem, as the sled was designed to take her down quickly to minimize the time spent at depth. However, the rapid descent meant that Audrey would reach the bottom faster than expected, leaving less time to properly equalize and prepare for the ascent. As Audrey reached the target depth of 561 feet, she attempted to activate the lift bag, but the bag failed to deploy properly. The safety divers, stationed at various depths along the descent line, immediately realized that something was wrong. They watched in horror as the seconds ticked by with no sign of Audrey beginning her ascent. The ocean, once a place of beauty and tranquility, had now become a cold and unforgiving environment. Without the lift bag, Audrey was trapped at an extreme depth, with no way to ascend quickly. The human body is not designed to withstand the crushing pressures found at such depths, and even the smallest delay can have catastrophic consequences. Audrey, already under immense physical stress from the descent, now faced a life-threatening situation. Her body, starved of oxygen, was beginning to shut down. The safety divers, realizing the gravity of the situation, began a frantic attempt to rescue Audrey. but the depth she was at made any immediate intervention impossible. The divers, stationed at 295 feet and 130 feet, could only wait and hope that Audrey would somehow manage to begin her ascent. But as the minutes passed, it became clear that something had gone horribly wrong. The seconds felt like hours as the surface crew, including Pipin, watched the depth gauges with growing dread. They knew that Audrey's time was running out. The human body can only survive for so long without oxygen, and Audrey had already been underwater for far longer than was safe. The rescuers were battling against the clock, and every second that passed made the situation more dire. Finally, after what seemed like an eternity, the safety divers reached Audrey. She was unconscious, her body limp in the water. The divers, fighting against the intense pressure and their own rising panic, began the painstaking process of bringing her to the surface. The ascent was slow, and every second felt like a lifetime. When they finally broke the surface, the scene was one of utter devastation. The medical team on the boat immediately began efforts to resuscitate Audrey, but it was clear that the situation was dire. Audrey had been without oxygen for far too long, and the damage to her body was irreversible. The attempts to revive her were frantic, but ultimately futile. Audrey Mestre was pronounced dead at the scene, her life tragically cut short in the pursuit of a dream. The news of Audrey's death sent shockwaves through the freediving community and beyond. She was a woman who had lived her life on the edge, constantly pushing the limits of what was possible. Her death was a stark reminder of the dangers inherent in the sport she loved. Audrey had always understood the risks, but she had faced them with courage and determination. In the end, it was these very risks that claimed her life. Audrey Mestre's final dive was a tragedy of unimaginable proportions. It was a dive that should have been her crowning achievement, but instead, it became a haunting reminder of the fragility of life. The ocean, with all its beauty and wonder, had taken her from the world far too soon. As the freediving community mourned her loss, they were left with the painful reality that even the most skilled and experienced divers are not immune to the dangers of the deep. In the wake of Audrey's death, questions were raised about the circumstances of the dive. There were concerns about the equipment used, the preparations made, and the decisions taken on that fateful day. But no matter the answers, nothing could change the fact that a young, vibrant life had been lost. Audrey's death was a profound loss, not just for those who knew and loved her, but for the entire world of freediving. Audrey Mestre's story is one of passion, dedication, and an unwavering love for the ocean. She lived her life to the fullest, constantly seeking new challenges and pushing the boundaries of what was possible. Her death was a tragic reminder of the risks that come with such pursuits, but it was also a testament to her incredible strength and courage. Audrey will always be remembered as a pioneer in the sport of freediving, a woman who dared to dream big and chase those dreams to the very end. As we remember Audrey, we honor her legacy and the impact she had on the world of freediving. She was a trailblazer, a woman who inspired countless others to follow in her footsteps. Her life may have been cut short, but her spirit lives on in the hearts of those who knew her and in the sport she loved so much. Audrey Mestre, you are gone but never forgotten. Rest in peace.